I've really liked what I played of Octopath Traveler. I don't think I'm as excited as you, because still I haven't gotten a chance to play the actual game. I've only played the demo.
Well,
of
I'm
it.
also a crazy person, though.
Yeah, you are.
He's the mean one now. Hello, my Toy-Cons and Joy-Cons. Welcome to the Nintendo Everything Podcast, episode 19. I am your host, Oni Dino. With me, I have the sturdiest piece of cardboard in the VR set. It's Galen.
It's definitely not one of those foldable ones. It's like those backbone ones that used to support the entire thing.
Yeah. The wide one and the tall one.
Yep, that's way more accurate than it should be. Wow. All right. I like this analogy.
So, rapid fire question for you, Galen. What existing Nintendo game do you want to play in VR?
Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's a lame answer. I mean, I'm such a jerk. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be like, creative question to you and creative answer. It sucks.
Actually, number one choice would be Breath of the Wild. Number two choice would be Mario Odyssey. And number three choice would be, honestly, Wargroove.
Ugh, I didn't ask for your whole life story.
Well, okay. You're gonna get it anyway.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get it. Exactly. So, as you can tell, we're gonna be talking about the announcement of Nintendo Labo number 4 VR Kit coming to Nintendo Switch next month. We're also going to be talking about leaked images of Sonic renders for the upcoming Sonic movie. Spoiler alert, it looks terrible.
Is it though? Is it really a spoiler?
We'll get to it. We're also going to be talking about the hot news of 2 new Octopath Traveler game announcements and some little bit of controversy from a Dragalia Lost dev saying that Nintendo doesn't want players to spend too much money. But before we get into all that, we're going to talk about our adventure log. Galen, you've been playing some Tetris 99, haven't you?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately? What is this masochistic?
Because it's just that. It's a masochistic tendency, because I get so close. I get so freaking close, and then I just eat it at the very end, and it frustrates me so much. The farthest that I've gotten so far is I've gotten into the top 3. So I'm making progress.
Great. Yeah, that's really good.
I'm definitely making progress. One thing oddly that I have noticed is I like playing the game with the regular Joy-Con controllers versus the Pro controller.
Why's that?
I don't know what it is, but for some reason when I'm using the Pro controller, it's like too touchy for me. Because there have been a couple of times that I wanted to move over 2 and then drop a piece, and then all of a sudden it just drops the piece. Like, my fingers... I can't tell if it's my controller's too touchy, if my finger's slipping. It's weird. But no, Joy-Con reliability. It's the way to go.
That's fascinating. So which buttons then are the ones that are giving you the too touchy issue?
The down button. Because every time I want to go over to the left or over to the right, I automatically see it drop straight down. And this nice little pile that I'm making, this stockpile, and then all of a sudden I've got this major line that's just ruining everything for me.
So is it like the D-pad? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm using the D-pad. I haven't even tried using the joystick on that.
Yeah. I mean, you want precise movements when you're playing Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard before about people saying with the D-pad, they try to, on the Pro controller, they try to press left or right, but then they end up getting the down input or something like that.
Yeah.
So I've heard about this issue before.
Huh.
I wonder if the Pro controller's D-pad is one of the worst D-pads that Nintendo has ever really made for their controllers, you know? Because Nintendo's D-pad are always they're up there, you know? They're the industry standard, right? But the Pro controller one, if there's these input issues, then...
I know, right? And I mean, I guess if you're using the Pro controller, you're really going for more of a feel of focusing more on the sticks than you are the actual D-pad, but I don't know.
So what else you been playing?
Well, when I get frustrated at losing horribly at Tetris 99, I switch over to Smash Bros. Because that's not, frustration inducing at all. I've been playing that a little bit. It's the first time I picked it up in a little while, so it was kind of interesting to kind of get back into the groove of things. It started off with getting used to like my classic staple characters. I play a lot of Ike, I play a lot of Samus, Cloud.
Yeah.
Started going through classic mode with them, and it's literally just going down the list.
Yeah.
I didn't really catch this at first, but I really appreciate what they did with the classic mode, where they give each character their own unique take on the journey.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know that before.
Yeah, it really didn't strike me until I picked up as Ryu. And Ryu and Ken, and going through and seeing absolutely everybody was all stamina matches, and it was like, wow, that is a nice touch. I really like that. I love Smash Bros so much because it's that game that you can always just play for a little while, put it down, and when you pick it back up, you get right back into it like nothing changed.
Yeah, that game has so much content, and it's just so meticulously crafted.
It hasn't been a whole lot of diverse gaming for me this week. It's just, Tetris and Smash Bros. It's really what I've been going for.
Two staples. That's a good foundation for gaming for a week.
You know what? I will definitely take that. Oni, what have you been playing?
So for me, I took a very long plane ride. So I was playing some Switch. Switch saves you during all of those wonderful long travels.
Absolutely.
So I briefly touched Hollow Knight, and I actually want to throw out like a request for help from our listeners on this, because so I touched it for just a moment and I really enjoyed it. It was just kind of dark in the game, and I could tell that I wanted to be a little bit more focused on my experience with it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to play this later when I can actually sit down and play the game proper, as opposed to having all these stimuli around me and then I can't focus on the game. So I like it for sure. But I have heard that you can easily go the wrong direction or go in a less advantageous direction for somebody who is starting out. So if our listeners out there have played through Hollow Knight and they have, strong feelings about this game, which a lot of people do, if you have a recommended path or something for a brand new player that is spoiler free to the best of your ability, send me a tweet, send us an email, whatever. I want to hear about it, because I have heard that you can say there's like a map or something, I don't know, just throwing out an item right there that is crucial for this area, and you can super miss it and then suddenly find it near the end of the game or something like that, and then you would think, oh well, this ability or this map or whatever would have been very advantageous had I found this way sooner. So it's sort of that situation that I've heard about. It's hard to put into words because I don't know what I'm talking about yet. So anyway, I think that people who have played Hollow Knight will kind of get a feel for what I'm saying. So if you have a tip, then I definitely want to hear it.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, though, I played a lot of the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle on Switch as well. This is a fantastic collection of a whole bunch of great arcade ports. That is a really, really well done collection of games. I, of course, only played the Super Nintendo versions back when I was younger, and playing these arcade true ports, it's so weird. It's like night and day. And the games move so much more fluid and faster than the Super Nintendo versions, which makes sense because of the nature of arcade to console ports back in the day. Specifically, King of Dragons stuck out to me because I played that game a lot on the Super Nintendo. But anyway, that is a fantastic collection with perfectly emulated arcade games, lots of options. You can switch between like the Western version or the Japanese version of something. So for example, with Final Fight, I think that was the game that they took out the female fighters in the Western version because of violence against women, but the Japanese version still has them, so you can fight against Poison and see her debut. She's like a staple character in games like Street Fighter nowadays. So yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always really appreciated a lot of those side-scrolling like beat 'em up type.
Me too.
Yeah, I remember going to the arcade plenty of times and like finding a copy of like the classic Dungeons and Dragons side scroller.
Yeah.
God, I gotta play that game again, actually, now that I think about it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember it's on like the PS3 and the Wii U and stuff. I don't remember if it went to like current gen consoles.
You know what? If that came back out for the current gen, I would definitely pick that up.
I mean, maybe it's already there. We don't even know.
I guess that's true.
So let's not keep the people waiting. Let's go straight into the news.
Excellent!
So we've got lots of news this week, so much that we can't even talk about all of it. So remember to check out our website, nintendoeverything.com, for around-the-clock news. So one of the biggest pieces of news this week was the announcement of Nintendo Labo for Nintendo VR Kit. Nintendo's finally doing VR like everybody wanted them to. This is launching next month. It is, quote, a unique first VR experience kids and families can build themselves, end quote. And just on the information side of things, there's going to be different configurations that will be offered. There's 2 main ones and then some expansion kits. So the main one is the full package, the Nintendo Labo VR Kit. This is going to be $80 US. It includes the software and materials to build 6 projects. That's going to be the goggles, blaster, camera, bird, wind pedal, and elephant. This also includes a screen holder and a safety cap. Then the other configuration to be offered is the VR Kit starter set plus the blaster. So this is half the price. It is $40 US. And this includes the software and components to build goggles and blaster, plus the screen holder and the safety cap. Then, if you like that kit and then you want to buy the other parts, there's the expansion kits that go to this starter set, each priced at $20 US. So there's one kit that comes with the elephant and the camera, and then one kit that comes with the wind pedal and the bird. So that's really crazy, just coming out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is really what's going to kick off more of what we're seeing on the Labo, because being able to take the Switch and put it into a VR environment, I mean, VR is such an untapped market as is.
Really?
I think so. Like, it's not nearly as mainstream as other gaming elements are. It doesn't get nearly the that is what I believe.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like
it's also such a fresh market to be able to look for ideas on, and considering that what Nintendo Labo is really appealing to is more of the people who want to use the Garage Kit to be able to create their own devices and create their own games.
Right.
Like, I think we're going to see so much more innovation out of this than we have seen with Labo up until recently.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. That's something that I'm on board with. But like in terms of like VR like not being mainstream and stuff, like I feel the exact opposite. I feel like VR is the mainstream thing and it's like almost separate from gaming, and it's not really, I don't know if it even has like the potential to be like something super great or something like that at the current moment, but I feel like it's overhyped or overplayed or whatever I'm trying to say there. I was on a friggin' plane for a long time, so you're not going to get any good discussion out of me on this week. Just letting you know. Like, listeners at home, please expect less than you normally expect out of the low expectations you have of me, and then you're going to get even less too.
Well, and I'm really excited on even some of the base models that they have on here. The camera one especially, because I am just waiting for somebody to make a
Pokemon
VR Snap. Yeah,
Pokemon.
exactly.
Yes, exactly.
I gotta be honest, the bird one and the elephant one, like, okay.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I know it's definitely geared for the younger kids, and hey, it's more fun to like build it and see and get something out of what you built. So there is that whole element to it other than just pure gameplay. But it's like, what are you doing as a bird?
I mean, clearly you fly around and you're probably going to be in the sky and all that stuff, so sure.
Yeah, I guess. The blaster one just looks silly.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that one is the most video game one. You're apparently going to be like shooting aliens or something, they said in the press release. So that's very video gamey.
I would agree with you, but you have to hold it up to your face, and you don't have anything to like rest on your shoulder. If you look at like the other VR implements that they've done, and even things like with his Wii Zapper, there was always an element of basing what you want to do off of what has been portrayed on media so far. So even if you don't know the stance or whatever that is correct to do, you know the pose that you want to go into and what feels cool to yourself. I don't think that holding something up to your face and going pew 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 will make you feel cool.
Okay. If you're playing video games to feel cool, come on. What? What point were you trying to make there? We both know each other. Neither of us are very cool.
I just think that holding it up to your face and having it be a blaster, like, it just looks awkward. It looks awkward to hold. And one of the biggest things about VR is allowing yourself to be like wrapped up in the immersion. I think that this would kind of break the immersion a little bit.
Okay. Okay. So, that's a great point though, because we should talk about that. We have not seen any gameplay or any kind of demonstration on this yet. We just only got the announcement and like the press release the other day. So
yeah.
We still have a lot more to learn about this, right? And especially with it coming out, what, in a month and a half? That's
yeah,
really
it's coming
soon,
out in
huh?
April. Well, and I don't know if we're going to be getting a whole lot of actual coverage of like what the games are themselves, because from the way that the boxes are actually marketed, they're not banking off of the gameplay elements of this. They are purely banking this off of the look at this thing that you can create and interact with.
Yeah. I guess that's the core of Labo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the core of what Labo is, but it always has that thing of how is this as a video game, because it is coming from Nintendo, a video game company. So I can see them wanting to kind of hold back and pull back on the actual gameplay footage in the game, because they don't want to turn off anybody who might not be none the wiser.
What? No, I'd super disagree with you. Like, I think that we're going to be seeing some sort of gameplay because, I mean, you have to show off that it is an experience, and you want to market, like, what is going on in the game. Like, for example, with the Labo robot thingy, you saw some gameplay where clearly you were moving around as a robot. You need to show that kind of thing so you can make sense of, oh, okay, you're building this thing physically, but then it's represented in this virtual world as well. And
yeah,
I think we're going to see those elements. I'm not talking about like gameplay like a friggin' actual genuine game.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they came out with the previous Labo devices, past when it initially launched, did they I honestly can't remember. Did they show a lot of gameplay footage when they were releasing these newer kits?
They did. They showed like just enough for you to get the idea of, okay, you're building something and, like I said, representing it in the virtual world.
Okay. I mean, we may see something. It's just I would also be very surprised if we didn't.
You would be surprised?
No, I would not be surprised.
Oh, not be surprised. Okay. Well, great that we do a podcast together, because I super feel the exact opposite as you. So there are a few aspects of this that I did want to bring up. One is the screen resolution issue. I don't know very much about VR, but I do know that, I mean, the screen is right up in your eyeballs. You're going to be seeing jaggies and stuff, right? So the Switch in handheld is only 720p screen, right? So I'm wondering, is there going to be a problem with it as a VR component? I'm wondering, like, oh, maybe if there's goggles that, or some sort of viewing device that goes with it, somehow that could mitigate those factors, but I really don't know. I'm not well versed in VR because I'm not interested in it.
It's interesting because the resolution of the screen in handheld mode doesn't make much of a factor here, where it does almost in the same way. Like, it's interesting because we're talking about pixels per square inch, and when you get right up close, it's going to be easier to tell those pixels apart.
Yeah.
But how they have always run these kind of cardboard VR setups, which, I mean, they had Google Cardboard when they were trying to introduce that out for phones, and they were able to not necessarily implement it successfully because you don't really hear about that a whole lot anymore today.
Yeah, I don't even know if I ever heard of it.
Yeah, no, it was this campaign they did about maybe 3 years ago. Don't quote me on that. But It was basically, they will send you a kit and you will go and it comes with special lenses that will distort wherever you set it up on the screen to the aperture of your eyes and like the way that it's shaped. So it kind of gives that illusion of being surrounded in a 3D space while you are looking at a 2D screen. It's all about the lenses themselves, which is why in every single one of these kits, you see this kind of plastic holder that you would put your face up to with the actual lenses. Those lenses are what makes all of this possible.
Right. Okay.
So I'm not too worried about the resolution. I think 720 is going to be absolutely fine. I mean, if it was 1080, I don't know if it would be that much clearer.
So, like, I genuinely don't know, but based on comments that I have read about VR, I've heard that, like, 1080 is already, like, a problem. That you can see so many jagged pixels and things like that just because it's so up in your face. I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Well, and then on top of that, you also have to really worry about the processing power of the system itself, and what you really need to worry about is the ability for the screen to render that full 60 frames a second, because motion blur is a major thing, especially with VR.
You need 60 frames, don't you, for VR? Gotcha. Yeah, because otherwise if it's 30, I'm sure it must be even more disorientating and sickness inducing.
Yeah. And I mean, people, when they design it right, they have been able to get around these problems before in the past. Again, as we have seen with the programs that they have on the Android market when you're downloading VR games there. Some are really, really good. Some are nauseating in some sense. It's all about how they're actually designed. So it's going to be interesting to see how Nintendo implements this, especially on a very kind of open market, like something that encourages home development.
Yeah, I am interested to see where this goes. I'm a big fan of Labo on the sidelines. I cheer it on. It's not for me at all. I don't have children or something like that. If I did, it would be a great thing to purchase and build with my kids or family or whatever the hell. But I'm a crazy person, so no. But I think it is a wonderful thing, and I'm actually going to talk about this later on in my additional DLC. It is a wonderful thing for edutainment and actually nailing the entertainment aspect of education. So I'm a big fan of that. I'm interested to see where this goes. Fostering creativity in kids is super important. I think it's great.
Yeah. And skepticism aside, I really do hope that this works out, because just like you said, I mean, edutainment and creativity is something that definitely needs to be fostered, and if anybody can do it right, Nintendo can.
Yeah, Nintendo is great about that.
On the note of nauseating.
Yes, on that nauseating note, let's talk about Sonic. So, some renders from the upcoming movie have started appearing.
Blah.
So, I briefly mentioned Sonic, I think in the last episode, and apparently, the witch boy that I am, I accidentally cast a spell, because we were cursed with more images of Sonic looking rank AF for his upcoming film. So the story here is that a marketing service firm that I've never heard of called Hamagami/Carol, I guess, they had images on their website. So you can check out links on our website as well that will send you right there so you can see exactly what he looks like. he's got a weird face and weird eyes. They're kind of small because, of course, Sonic's eyes are gigantic in his normal character render. But this version of him it looks quite off. Like his eyes are too piercing or something. I don't know exactly how to describe it. But in my opinion, the face is actually a bit forgivable depending on how he animates in the upcoming film. The really offensive thing about this is his weird human proportions in contrast with his huge candy apple sized head. He looks like a dude in a fursuit. Something about it is genuinely uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable, like I need an adult when I see this. He also looks kind of like that Momo creature that is suddenly popular on the internet again in the West. It's weird. He looks just like that. It's seriously his face. It's bad.
This is just not good.
Yeah, and
at all.
Before we go even deeper into it, which I already just crapped on this already. I am so sorry, Sonic fans. I am not a Sonic fan, but this is not the one for you, and I feel so bad for you guys. I am sorry about your lives. Because, it's not good to just purely hate on something. It's not good. And I don't know, if you like this, good for you. Can't see it from your point of view, but some people got to find the happiness in their lives. And I refuse, talk bad about other people, so instead I choose to talk shit about art. And this Sonic thing is exactly what I'm going to be talking shit about.
So, I've got a lot of points on this to start off.
So many points that you're turning into a hedgehog? I'm sorry, continue.
I need a moment. The image that is being shared where it says table of contents and everything like that, this looks very much to me like it was some sort of presentation package on pitching the idea more than anything else. What I think is really interesting is in the very center one, they show some, it looks like it is toy art or something, but they have a picture of Sonic from the video games literally right next to a picture of this render of Sonic, hands on his hip and one hand pointing towards you. And the comparison between the two is just weird.
Yeah.
Anybody can look at this and say, no, this is off. Proportions are definitely out of whack, and I think one of the things that really bothers me is that they are taking this fur hair approach to it that reminds me very much of Detective Pikachu done wrong.
Yeah.
They're trying to add a level of realism to it that just is not working.
Yeah, and I'm fine. It's a fake creature. It's fine. Do new things with it. Do weird things. That's all cool with me. I don't even... The fur thing doesn't bother me at all. Because it's a hedgehog. Hedgehogs don't have fur, right? I mean, you used to own a hedgehog.
Yeah, they have a little bit of fur underneath, but everything on their head and their back is these quills.
Right. And
to it.
But my point is that I don't care. Go ahead, do fur, do spikes, do whatever the hell. It's a creature, it's a fake thing. Make it up and make it fun. But they're taking a weird realism approach to it that instead of it really being realistic or whatever, it's just sucking the fun out of it, I guess. It's hard to put into words. You look at it and it just looks wrong and a little bit upsetting.
Another thing that I noticed is and the way that I'm looking at all this is directly from our website, so I'm actually on the page just kind of scrolling down right now. Right underneath that presentation portfolio, they have a full body shot of Sonic, and the first detail that I noticed was the Nike swoosh on his shoes.
Oh yeah,
that makes me really, really worried, because that just screams they are going to product placement the hell out of this movie.
Oh sure,
which will
totally
destroy it.
Yeah.
I mean, not that we're much saving.
I don't know if it's gonna destroy it, but it is gonna be kind of, come on, guys. It's gonna be distracting for sure.
Exactly. And then I can't remember. Did we talk about the leaked render footage yet?
Oh, the one that looks like it's a screenshot from the film, right?
Yeah.
No, we didn't talk about that one. That one actually looks much better to me because, I mean, his eyes are big and he looks like he's smiling and stuff. So that one doesn't bother me. And that's why I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is going to animate okay. And his proportions, there's no fixing that. But maybe he's going to animate all right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be hopeful for the Sonic fans, you know?
We're not really going to know anything until we actually see it in motion and see how things actually put together. I mean, I will admit I had doubts about Detective Pikachu when I looked at it for the first time, because I thought taking a realistic approach to Pokemon it looked wrong, but it kind of grew on me. I'm not getting that same sort of sensation the more I'm seeing about Sonic.
Yeah.
But again, we haven't really seen anything. We have quote-unquote leaked stuff, which, I mean, take that as you will. So
yeah, so I'm trying to be optimistic. This is not like a, oh my god, it's so bad and let's just like talk bad about this or something like that. I don't like living in those moments.
Yeah. No, it does not give me good hopes about it, but I'm not ready to write it off just yet.
Yeah, same. I mean, I'm probably not going to see this movie because I don't care about Sonic, but I feel bad for the Sonic fans.
I still have my tickets pre-ordered and my popcorn warmed up.
I hope it's constantly being warmed up because this movie comes out in like 8 months or 6 months or something crazy.
You should see how it smells in my house. It's not pleasant.
Well, that's without the popcorn.
Ouch! Ouch!
Sorry, that was mean. That was really mean.
Jet-lagged Oni is worst Oni. Wow.
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, cue all of the emails of Oni, why are you so mean to Galen again?
Ah, man, I've got like 3 pseudonyms that I'm just going to sign under. Just send you all of the wrong hate mail.
Hashtag free Galen.
Hashtag free Galen. Actually, no, don't hashtag free Galen. That's an actual thing that I want no association with.
You were the one pushing it. You created it. What are you talking about? No, you go in the corner and stay there. You created that corner for yourself.
And this is why we're friends.
Sure. So before we move on from Sonic, though, I did want to say I am loving these ridiculous memes. The schadenfreude is very strong in this. There's like people being like, okay, there's a huge collection of bad blue stuff happening in Hollywood these days. There's Mystique in the upcoming X-Men film looking like a crappy character on a Star Trek Generation set or something like that, because the Jennifer Lawrence hates wearing that makeup. She has talked about it.
Oh yeah,
publicly, and so they're just putting less and less makeup on her, and now it just looks so bad.
And it just looks worse.
It does.
Worse.
It looks so cheap. So anyway, there's that. There's the Will Smith genie thing that looks really bad. And there's Sonic, and then there's got to be another one. I feel like there was 4 images I saw. I don't know. It's on my Twitter. I retweet that crap. God, I love it. Speaking of which, I also retweeted an artist who fixed the Sonic thing. It still took the artistic direction that they're trying to go with, and with his fur and stuff like that, but they just gave him back his Sonic proportions, gave him back his weird Sonic eyes, because that's just the recognizable character. And it does look strange because Sonic's proportions are weird. His eyes are weird because he's actually got one eye. It doesn't like close in the middle. But whatever, like that's the way that people have seen Sonic, and your movie is supposed to be for Sonic fans. So just do something like that. You don't have to change him like a ton. And this artist on Twitter totally fixed that. Twitter to the rescue again.
I actually saw that tweet, and I mean, if this is how Sonic looked in that, I would be totally okay.
Yeah.
No Nike swishes.
No, please, come on. Moving on, Nintendo talked about the Tetris 99 Maximus Cup event. This is an event that is running now, all the way up to March 10th, I believe. So maybe you're listening to this a little bit later in your work week, or maybe you're listening to it the day of. If you're listening to it the day of, you're a dedicated fan. Thank you for listening.
And also, if you're listening to it day of, Happy Mario Day.
Yeah, I forgot. Did I not say that in the very beginning? I wanted to say that. Happy Mario Day, everybody.
Happy Mario Day. Everybody go outside and go, wahoo!
Anyway, Tetris 99 Maximus Cup event. The goal is to win first place as many times as possible. You got to be better than Galen. And the
It's
top
not hard.
999 players will win 999 gold points. That's pretty cool, I think, because this is a free game if you own the Nintendo Switch Online service. And gold points, 1 point is 1 US penny. So you basically get $10 if you are any of the top 999 players. I think that's cool.
I think it's cool, but I've got mixed feelings on this entire thing.
Well, maybe it's because you're not so good at the game. Oh,
well, I'm not.
Shame,
I'm
shame,
not gonna
shame. Dab, dab, dab.
Keep on dabbing. I appreciate Nintendo, especially with a free game, taking the initiative and trying to foster more of a rewarding competitive environment.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, come play our game. If you're the best one, you'll get some prizes. That's cool. I really like that.
Yeah.
And I definitely like the play on the whole 99 aspect,
Yeah.
999 players, 99 gold points.
999 gold points. Coins.
I'm sorry, 999 gold points.
Yeah, we can't sit around and be wrong all day, okay?
It's very weird on how they offered it.
Explain that.
Okay, so if you actually break down in what is being offered, so if you are the top 1,000 players minus one, you get $10 off of a game. Not even that. You get $9.99 off of a game.
Yeah.
That's cool, but you also have to prove your worth. Like, I feel like the stakes are too low.
What?
Yeah, I feel like the stakes are too low for this kind of a competitive environment, especially because when you have other games such as League of Legends, where it is also still a free game, and the best players are being rewarded millions upon whatever dollars or thousands of dollars.
You can't draw that comparison.
No, I'm drawing that comparison because this is an event with prize money on the table.
Also,
now,
League of Legends is like the most popular game the world over, isn't it?
True.
It's crazy.
Well, no, it's insanely popular, and it would be crazy to be able to make those kind of comparisons to...
Yet you just did.
Tetris,
maybe that means you were crazy.
No, I'm saying that it would be crazy to think that Tetris could put up $1 million in prize money or whatever. But what I think they should have done was they should have increased the prize pot and lowered the winner ratio. If you actually break down the numbers on it, so you have 999 players winning $9.99 off of one game, or off of one purchase. So Nintendo, as a company, is basically losing out on, or giving away $9,980.01. That is what they are putting on the table with how much they are giving to all of these players. If you turn the tables and you instead said, hey, the top 99 players, which still fits to the same theme, they win 9,999 gold points. So they get $100 in gold coins. That only comes up to $9,899.01. So it's actually cheaper for them to go in a route that gives a larger cash pool.
So I get what you're saying about that, but I think that the way that they are doing it this way and intentionally being different than the big cash pool thing is that it's more inclusive of players. More players are going to get a chance to win. And rather than being 1% about it, where it's only rewarding the absolute best players, it's rewarding a large pool of the best players. And I like that because it's more inclusive.
So you personally like the more inclusive aspect.
Yeah, like it's more inclusive and you win $10. It sounds really attainable. If I were a good Tetris player or something like that, and I've won first place once in a while before, I would totally be playing this and be like, hey, I'm liking this game in the first place. Might as well play it a little bit more than I usually do and try and win $10. Why not?
Yeah.
Like that's I think about it as a little simple bonus extra thing.
Yeah. And I mean, this might just be me being a little bit more...
ridiculous. Crazy? Outrageous?
I'm looking at this more of an aspect of, hey, I'm going to play this game as much as I can over the weekend in hopes that I get my $10 Starbucks gift card.
Basically.
I don't know. Like, to me personally, this is definitely a nice effort that they're doing on there, but I felt like they could have gone about it for a little bit of a different way to make it a little bit more appealing. That said, I'm definitely not making it into the top 999 players. I have no room to talk whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is this all served with a side of salt?
This is with the entire Morton case. What are you talking about?
Well, then you're not talking logically. You're just talking salty. You're
I'm
like
not talking.
You're
salty.
a salted cured fish. That's what you are.
I am looking at this as somebody who is
Pickled.
What do I even try?
So, another bit of news that we got this week is a little bit of a controversial thing. A Dragalia Lost, and I'm not sure, we reported that this was a dev, but perhaps it is a spokesperson, says that Nintendo doesn't want its players spending too much money, basically. So, Cyber Agent, a parent company of Psy Games, who is the co-developer on Dragalia Lost, a new Nintendo IP, Cyber Agent, they lowered their fiscal year earnings forecast for the first time in 17 years, apparently. And they stated that the reason is Dragalia Lost. The Cyber Agent official said, quote, Nintendo is not interested in making a large amount of revenue from a single smartphone game. If we managed the game alone, we would have made a lot more, end quote. That's pretty bold, right?
Yeah.
So the reason for this is because back when the game launched, some players were initially upset about the difficulty of winning rare characters during the game's like lottery system. It's a gacha game, so you play the lottery, basically. It's gambling.
Yeah.
And according to Cyber Agent officials, Nintendo asked for this to be adjusted so that way users wouldn't spend an excessive amount of money because they were getting some flack for it, for the winning rates being really unfair or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the information there. This is kind of weird because they currently have a partnership, right? So for a Cyber Agent official to say this kind of like disparaging thing and to place the blame on their earnings forecast being decreased on Nintendo, it's bold, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would really like to know more into what went into this comment actually being quoted.
Yeah, I'm interested too.
Because, I mean, this seems very bitter in a sense.
Yeah, it sounds bitter AF.
Yeah. And I mean, I totally understand what Nintendo was saying and saying, hey, we want to adjust the things, but we don't want to adjust it in a way where people have to invest more into the loot box system in order to go for it. I mean,
yeah,
Nintendo has always, and I applaud Nintendo for this in the way of they are trying to remember that games are supposed to be fun and games are not supposed to be this major cash grab opportunity.
I sort of agree with you, but continue, sorry.
Yeah. Being so new into the mobile game market, they're still testing the waters of everything, but they're keeping that business morality to it, where they're coming at it saying, hey, we know that we could make more money if we did option A, but is that the right way to do it? Is this the way that's going to retain customer appreciation and retain our fan base, more importantly?
Yeah.
And I feel like just this comment in general is just saying we've got so much more opportunities to make money and everything if they would just get out of the way and let us do our job. And it's like, you're missing the point, dude.
Yeah, it's strange, right? Because basically they're complaining that Nintendo won't let them be as predatory as they want to be so they can get more money out of every single player at a higher rate.
Which should be a sign on this on the company itself. So
yeah, I don't think that this looks good for Psy Games or Cyber Agent at all. I also don't think it looks particularly good for Nintendo. It doesn't look good for anybody in this. But honestly, it looks really bad on Cyber Agent.
Yeah.
It makes Nintendo sound a bit more consumer focused to a slight degree, I guess, because they increased the rates. They weren't just like, no, screw you, like, we're trying to exploit people with gambling addictions. It doesn't matter how bad the rates are for winning characters, just spend more money, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess it looks slightly better for Nintendo in that, but I mean, it's gambling, you know?
Exactly.
This is a game, and that's why I said I only agree with you, you know, to some degree, because this is a mobile game where they're like, no, spend money constantly so you can win characters, you know? That's the main point of the damn game, and this is something we're going to talk about in the next news bit too. The point I wanted to make was that this could hurt Nintendo's potential relationships in the future with other companies. No? You don't think so?
I mean, it's hard to say, because if this mentality that cyber agents and side games have is a majority of what these gacha games have, like, who is meeting who on this occasion? Is it that Nintendo has to meet up with all of these other mobile game creators in an effort to try to get themselves into the mobile market and to make Nintendo a more appealing business partner? Or is it all of these smaller mobile game creators want to get in with Nintendo because they are such a huge name and they are such an iconic name to say that, hey, we developed games for Nintendo? It's a great thing to put onto your business resume when it comes to what the company has actually been able to do. Obviously, there are some gains on both ends, but which one has more to gain on this one? To me, I feel that Nintendo is the more wanting to stand by their ground and stand by, let's respond to player feedback and adjust it so that we keep our customer base happy.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, the consumer has to bend to our wills. The customer is not always right. We're right because we're the ones providing the product.
Yeah, I want to say that I really agree. That was a great point that you brought up just a moment ago about Nintendo being such a big name, right? So if this were a smaller company and not such a wild pedigree, then this would hurt them, I think, definitely. But with Nintendo, maybe not so much, just because there's still that desire to work with them.
Yeah.
Those IP are so strong that something like this won't hurt them so much. So that's a great point.
Exactly. And like I said before, it's hard to say because both sides can benefit so much from a partnership, but they have very clashing ideals. And those ideals are basically what makes the companies themselves. So it's going to be interesting to see if this does have an effect.
Yeah, and I guess my closing thought on this is that I'm glad to see Nintendo, if anything, shying away from excessive microtransactions, but I mean, this still doesn't sound good for anyone involved, really.
I know.
But whatever. Personally, don't give a damn because I don't like playing games with microtransactions in them. Even any of their mobile games I have not been super into. Fire Emblem Heroes was the only one I was into because the gameplay was really good, but eventually I was just like, ugh, this doesn't feel like a game too much to me because the gacha element of just constantly pay money to like buy new characters, which of course I never paid money, but it felt like work or like tricking the system rather than feeling like me enjoying and playing a video game after a bit.
Nah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I got into Mario Run for a little while, but yeah.
Oh, I would have loved to have bought that because it was an outright purchase, right? It wasn't a microtransaction thing, which investors hate. They're like, no, we need to exploit people's gambling weaknesses. I would have loved to have purchased that, but like, I didn't like the gameplay. I don't like runners very much. It wasn't fun for me.
Yeah.
But sorry, go on.
No, it was like either $5 or $15 just to buy like all the levels and have unlimited access to it.
So sort of on that note, let's move on to the next bit of news. Octopath Traveler Project has been announced for mobile. Now, I like using that title because remember, it used to be known as Project Octopath Traveler? So there is an Octopath Traveler project that is now announced for mobile. There's actually 3 bits of news here. The first bit is that Octopath Traveler on the Switch has sold 1.5 million copies so far. That's fantastic, right?
Right.
I love that. Like, great. This is a game that deserves it. It is so well made. I love it. I love this game. Now, that's number 1. Number 2 is a new game for iOS and Android called Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent. has been announced. This is only iOS and Android. This is not a Switch game. So we do know that it is a single-player focused game. It is not a port, and that there will be proper stories for 8 characters and more content possibly being added after launch. It is also going to take place before the events of Octopath Traveler proper, and movement is going to resemble sort of an on-rails game with swipe motions for movement.
Yeah, see, that bit is interesting to me.
Yeah.
I wonder what they mean by that exactly.
Before we jump into that, let's close it out with a third bit of news here. And this is great that they said this. Square Enix confirms that a new console game for Octopath Traveler is in the works. And this is a quote from their Twitter, I believe. They said, quote, "For those of you waiting for a new console game, we apologize, but we'll need more time for production. So in the meantime, we hope you'll enjoy this," end quote. And when they say this, they mean the iOS game. So that is great, because there is a lot of backlash when a game is primarily console or PC based, then they do a mobile thing for it. If they say, here's a mobile thing, we're also working on the main thing as well, then there's less blowback. This reminds me of the Diablo disaster. Do you recall that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
I remember that.
had they announced, before we talk about Octopath Traveler, I want to say that had they announced, hey, the new Diablo is in development, it's going to take some more time, but in the meantime, here's this mobile game, people would not have freaked out so much, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that they announced it like this, but I have some reservations about this. But why don't you tell me what you're thinking about this?
I mean, I'm interested. I'm excited. I've really liked what I played of Octopath Traveler. I don't think I'm as excited as you, because still I haven't gotten a chance to play the actual game. I've only played the demo.
Well, I'm also a crazy person, though.
Yeah, you are.
He's the mean one now.
No, this is great. I really want to know, though, what they mean by an on-rail... What was it? An on-rail RPG?
So it says that the movement resembles more of an on-rails game with swipe motions for movement.
Yeah, that's interesting to me, because I thought it would have been very, very easy just to go, like, okay, hold up, hold down, hold left, hold right for moving your character, and then all you do is you select whatever items you want to. Like, putting an on-rails element to it just seems different. And I don't know if it's different in a good way or a bad way, but I'm hoping a good way.
So my thought on that is based on looking at the trailer, because there is a trailer for this. There's gameplay. It looks like it's reusing many of the areas from the Octopath Traveler game. So the on-rails element, I think, is to simplify the gameplay from a production standpoint.
That would make sense.
I have clearly a bit more of a negative impression for this mobile game. It doesn't feel like a video game to me from the things I've heard. I can be swayed one way or another. I'm not trying to immediately be like, oh, it's terrible, awful, mobile, bad, like, I'm not trying to be one of those crazy people. But what I'm saying is that the information that we have so far and the footage of the trailer so far, not looking like my thing. And as long as I know there's a new console game in the works, whatever, I can ignore this kind of thought. So the on-rails thing, I think you're just going to be going down the path, and then you come to a fork. Do you go left or do you go right? That kind of thing. Because if you could explore and you could go around all these different areas, then there's more to code and there's more variables of like, okay, do you get in random battles? Are these scripted battles? If they're scripted battles, then it's easier to code because there's less variation, right?
Yeah.
But something else to consider is that Square Enix games, a lot of their mobile efforts have been heavily criticized before. I heard that there's a couple of good games that they do have, but I think that they've got more stinkers than they got good ones. I don't know. I don't play gacha mobile crappy RPGs. And it's my thought on this, and tying it back to what I was saying in the last news part, is mobile RPGs for me, okay, personal opinion here, always feel like cheap ways to exploit you for money rather than feel like a video game. It gets in my way of enjoying a game as a game. Feels like an end product that isn't even a game. it reminds me of like the big budget movies that are manufactured to be a financial success foremost rather than a film. You know?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I am not optimistic that this is going to turn out good. I hope it does, just because I love Octopath Traveler in that world, and looking at that, I don't know. Going in with real low expectations, just like you guys should go in today for me, for my energy level. Not even my energy. Clearly I got energy, but words can't make them. Not today.
Gotta love that jet lag.
Okay, but the other thing I want to say about this, though, is that ultimately, if a new Octopath Traveler game is happening, it's getting the more word out there in more hands than it was previously on Switch. That's good. Grow the franchise. I want to see more games in this universe. I want to see more HD 2D. That's all good. Plus, if there's new music, hell yeah, because the music in that game is fantastic.
Yeah, that is one thing I'm really excited about, is just all of the soundtracks.
Yeah. So, trying to keep optimistic on it to some degree, expecting low efforts from Square Enix on this.
Yeah.
So that about does it for the news. Again, so much more stuff we couldn't even talk about. Check out nintendoeverything.com for all of the latest news, round the clock, nonstop. We got people working there. They're like robots. Ridiculous. So let's talk about our additional DLC. Galen, what you got for the listeners?
I am very excited to tell you about the Legend of Vox Machina Kickstarter.
Oh, you have a Kickstarter this week. I had one last week.
Yeah, this is actually the first Kickstarter I've done so far. So, I have talked on the show about Critical Role, the D&D show where a bunch of nerdy voice actors decide to just play a game of Dungeons and Dragons and just make this amazing, compelling story that goes along with it. Well, these guys have actually gathered together to start a Kickstarter, and the goal of this is to animate one of their Dungeons and Dragons games from their first campaign series. It was originally going to be an original story. They were asking for about, I think it was $750,000 to make a 22-minute episode, and it was going to be animated by Titmouse Animations, which are the same guys that did a lot of really cool stuff. They did a lot of animation for Avatar: The Last Airbender, that old Megas XLR show, if you remember that, back when it was all in like Adult Swim. They have a lot of really cool stuff, and they have a really impressive trailer on there. Why I'm so excited about this is that they broke that Kickstarter within the first hour. Not only that, they have exceeded it and broken records as far as the fastest growing Kickstarter on Kickstarter itself. They just started earlier last Monday, and they are already up to like $6.6 million to fund this animation. What was supposed to be just a single show, they have now expanded into an entire series. And as a personal fan of the show, I am so ecstatic to see these stories come to life. I cannot wait, and I cannot wait to see how far this actually goes. So, highly recommend checking out the Kickstarter. Critical Role is absolutely amazing, and this is definitely something that is worth paying attention to.
So for me, my additional DLC is a video on YouTube by Super Bunny Hop on Nintendo Labo and Edutainment. He goes really deep into it. It's, I think, like a half-hour video or something. It's a great watch. He examines a lot of different aspects, and he kind of goes back and forth on the idea of like, oh, this is kind of, I don't know. And then he goes like, wait, well, this is great because of these reasons. And it's a nice critical. It is a nice criticism or critical look at... You just said the word so many times, it doesn't even sound like a word to me in my brain right now. Anyway, it's a great watch, well-researched, so do check it out. Links will always be in the description for both of our additional DLC. So now, let's move on to some listener mail.
Listener mail, listener
No,
mail. We're gonna
don't
do
sing,
some
this is too
listener
bad.
mail. Listener mail.
Superstar. If you want to send us an email, we'll talk about it. Send that email to nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
That email again is...
Did you forget? Have you forgotten? Nintendo Everything Pod, dude. Come on. Come on.
That email is nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
And your email might sound a little something like this. Paul writes, "Hi there, Oni and Galen. Quick question. What are the top 3 or 5 worst games that you have played? And is it because of shitty graphics, gameplay, or something else? Also, I love the podcast." Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
So I had to think about this one ahead of time for me, because I don't continue playing a game if I'm not enjoying it. So it's very easy for me to forget. So my choices, I'm sure that some of these games are fun to someone or even are redeemable, but what I chose are just games that hit me across the face with being purely unenjoyable when I was expecting otherwise. What's most offending to me is a game that is mediocre or a big disappointment when it should be so much more, rather than being like a truly like bad game kind of thing. Because I have a weird appreciation for those truly awful ones. And there are plenty of notable awful games out there too, that I just have never played, like the original Final Fantasy XIV or recently The Quiet Man on PS4. Have you heard about that game?
Oh God, I have not.
Oh man, you gotta look into it. The listeners at home too. It was like a bouncer like style thing, but it turned out like awful, absolutely awful. We'll talk about that later. Let's get back to Paul's question, huh? So, my choices, one of them is Fear Effect Sedna on the Nintendo Switch and many other things.
Ooh.
I bought this game on a sale. I was like, yeah, this looks like fun. I like top-down shooters, top-down games, that kind of thing. It's fun. It's fun. So I was expecting it to be all right. It sucked. Like, I deleted it after playing it just a little bit. I was like, whoa, no, I'm not going to play this game anymore. It feels bad to move around. You get shot and die super quickly. It is kind of unresponsive in terms of the skills and whatnot that you have at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
The story, I mean, I barely played it, so maybe the story is okay, but I just was not interested in the story at all. So do not recommend that game. I even saw like, there's mediocre reviews online, so I thought it'll be fine. I like this genre, so I think I'll like it. I was interested enough to do that. Big mistake. And then another one is Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero. You remember that game?
I think I do, yeah.
It was that game on the 64. It looks like crap. It was like a side-scrolling beat-em-up kind of thing. The biggest offense was how poorly it played. They made this beat-em-up with controls and a concept that didn't work for it at all. This should not have gone past the trial phase at all. I remember there was a bunch of cheap deaths too. Of course, I haven't played it in a long time, so I don't remember. But it felt awful, and it was when Mortal Kombat could not have been hotter. So it was such a disappointment as a young Mortal Kombat fan, because the idea was so promising. By the way, I did not accidentally say Mario Kart. High five. And then another game that I want to mention is Star Fox Zero. That was such a disappointment on the Wii U, because I feel like had they just dialed the controls back and tried to do less with it, I appreciated the ingenuity that they were trying to go with. Had they just been like, no, let's make a fun shooter, let Platinum go crazy with the action kind of thing, it would have been much better. But the controls, man, constantly I was fighting them, and I was like, there's a good game under here. Maybe not an amazing game, but a good one. And it was such a disappointment for me. So how about you?
I'm still trying to get past that Star Fox Zero.
I know, that's a big dig, because also, I like Star Fox. Star Fox 64 was great.
Yeah.
It was sad.
Well, I'm going to start mine off with I don't want to call it obscure. It is Aquaman Battle for Atlantis.
What's
Yeah. It was it was an N64 game, and think of Superman 64, just put it underwater, and that's basically what you had.
That sucks. That sucks.
Yeah. It was terrible. It was you couldn't control anything. You couldn't move anything or anywhere where you wanted to. Combat system was talked about, but it barely existed as far as like being able to do anything that you wanted to do. It was a terrible, terrible experience. I think I rented the game and then like took it back the next day or something. Another game that I got, or that I had on my list that came to mind, was Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness.
Oh, yeah! Wow, that game sucked.
Yeah, it was bad. I think that was if I remember correctly, I think that was the one that first tried to introduce, like, RPG elements to the Tomb Raider franchise in a way of, like, real world experiences would help grow your character. So you would go around and, like, pick up a book, and Laura would go, "My arms feel stronger now." And it was like, what? Okay. It was just, it was so poorly implemented and just so, there was no heart in the game whatsoever that it just, I couldn't get past, like, I think the second level is when I just put the game down and I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I can't do this. But the biggest heartbreak of all for me is going to be Dragon Ball Ultimate Tenkaichi for the PS3. I have been such a huge Dragon Ball fan.
Yep.
And I remember when I was in college, I remember me and my roommate, when I had one, we would stay up way too late playing Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And just going back and forth in every weird, random, crazy combo that we could think of. It was so much fun. I have so many fond memories of that game. When I heard that they were coming out with a sequel, I got so excited. And when I learned that you could actually make your own DBZ character, I was like, this is going to be the greatest game ever. I was sadly mistaken.
Aww.
The battle system is so poor that it basically becomes an elaborate rock, paper, scissors. And not in a fun Pokemon way of, oh, you're doing this, well, I'll do this to go ahead and counter it. No, there's literally, you get in, you dash at each other, or you punch at the same time, which happens a lot in this game. It will go into a cutscene. You have to select one of the, like, 3 or 4 different button presses, and if you press the same one, then the combo just stops and you get punished for it. So you have to guess what the other person is doing. It is literally rock, paper, sand. And I was heartbroken. I feel like this is the first time that I've actively been betrayed by a game.
I could hear it in your voice. There's some deep cuts there.
The deepest never heal.
So thank you very much for writing in, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. I didn't need to relive any of that, but...
No, thank you for causing pain to Galen. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan, Paul. We also got some other emails that we didn't have time to answer this week, but we'll answer them next week, of course, as we usually do. Again, you want to send us an email? Do that. Send me your hot emails. NintendoEverythingPod@gmail.com.
NintendoEverythingPod@gmail.com.
So thank you for listening. Check out, of course, NintendoEverything.com. Check out our Twitter, NinEverything, and our YouTube, that's also NinEverything. Then, my Twitter is @Oni_Dino. By the way, Hollow Knight stuff. Tweet me. Tweet me, bro.
Tweet all of your Hollow Knights, too.
No,
Oni
like I want some ideas. I want a little bit of guidance in the beginning. I appreciate just a bit of suggestion. You know, like I don't have to follow it, but some suggestion is nice. I like that a lot in video games, and I'm a little sad that Hollow Knight doesn't really have that, at least from what I've played. Anyway, tell me where I need to go. Tell me what I need to do in the very beginning, and then I will take off the training wheels very quickly after that, and then experience it full blast all over the place.
Yeah, okay.
And then maybe I'll post a screenshot or a picture or something like that. You can check out all that on my Insta. That is at Oni__Dino. There's 2 underscores on the Insta, okay? So Galen, what about you?
So as always, you can catch me at my Twitter at Mobius087, as well as the location of the secret project that I have been working on for over a month now.
Oh!
So, I am happy to announce that if you enjoy these two fools who enjoy playing video games and berating each other quite a bit, you can now catch us at our Let's Play channel on YouTube. We are the Super Turbo Fighters. This is something that Oni and I have actually been working on for quite some time now. We've got a lot of great ideas for the show, and basically it's just going to be us playing some games, bantering back and forth, just a lot like we usually do here on the show. We're going to be able to bring up some topics that aren't necessarily related to Nintendo stuff, but we definitely have a lot of Nintendo games that we play on the platform. We have a lot of retro games on the books to be able to start playing. Right now, you can catch our one-shot episodes of Super Mario 3, in which I feel like we both learned that we are not nearly as good at Mario as we used to remember being.
Oh, at that end of the episode, I have like a mental breakdown.
You do, and it is glorious.
I don't know. I had some rough times.
And we also have a one-shot of us playing Smash Bros. Ultimate. One of us is the far superior Smasher. I will let you be the decider as to who that is.
Yeah, who is it?
Yeah. And then we also have our first franchise, or our first series game, which we're going to be doing for the upcoming month, which will be Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun story. We actually started recording this at the launch day of the game, and there have been so many different setbacks and everything that we are just now being able to put this.
Yeah. Putting together a YouTube channel and, I don't know, just getting things right, which, by the way, I don't think that we did, like, a lot of things right. I learned a whole lot during this whole process. It takes time and a lot of trial and error on that. And, I mean, come check out our YouTube and listen to us talk about games, fall over our words, and make mistakes along the way. I know, especially, I was so hyped for Resident Evil 2 that I was backseat driving you the entire time, and I am so sorry about that. I want to like re-record all the episodes over again because I'm like, oh god, I'm such a jerk.
So I cannot wait for when we actually get to the point where I can start making like compilation videos. I'm gonna have a counter of every time you like yell at me to save or to not
the whole
visit
episode.
the item box.
Just put the whole episode up again.
Basically.
Also, and then I didn't realize, like, because I'm thinking like old times, you have to save all the time. There's like in the regular modes, there is a autosave feature. So I look like an extra jerk because I didn't need to be complaining at you like that.
I remember the first time we found out that there's an autosave feature, which I was very fortunate for and kind of bummed out about because I've been doing really good up until that point.
Yeah. So anyway, check out some videos, Super Turbo Fighters on YouTube. We're going to be doing so much more stuff. We got so many more things in the works and so many plans, so many Nintendo games especially that we really want to play.
Exactly. And the first 3 episodes, I uploaded it all up. They went up on Saturday, so they're available right now. You guys like us, come over and hang out with us over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that shameless plug, please do consider giving us a rating and all that junk on Nintendo Everything Podcast, on whatever service you listen to it on. It's wherever the hell you listen to podcasts, it's there. Except for SoundCloud. They want extra money. Like, what? Come on. And also consider to subscribe, like, all that junk on our YouTube. We're not doing it for money or anything like that. So, and plus you don't make money for like a really long time on YouTube. So we're just doing it just to like have fun. So we hope you have fun hanging out with us too. Stay tuned weekly for our podcast and check out weekly for episodes on our YouTube as well for Super Turbo Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Aren't you?
I've been itching to like finally announce this, and I'm so happy that you're finally on that.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to improving as well. Like,
Yeah.
I got a lot of plans, you know? Self-improvement.
Oh yeah.
Mario time.
Happy Mario Day.
Luigi too, yeah.
No, Luigi, you already got your year. This is Mario Day now.
That's the year of the Bowser. The year of the Bowsette, really. And for everything Nintendo,
stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.
bye-bye.
Later, everyone.